Welcome to the Scouting Expedition podcast, courtesy of the Cascade Pacific Council of Scouting America. This is more than just a podcast, it's an adventure cast. Here we'll share stories and insights about the lifelong adventure, real-world grit, and personal growth only found through scouting here in the Cascade Pacific Council. We'll have guests here indoors, but also head outdoors to meet those that make the Scouting Expedition come to life for thousands of local youth here in Northwest Oregon and Southwest Washington. Each episode will start with the latest news, reminders, and important deadlines for our families, scouts, leaders, and volunteers, so you can just take a quick listen or watch in a way that's convenient for you. Then we'll dive into the topic of the day. So let's get started.
And hello there, Scouts, Scouters, and friends. Thanks so much for joining us on today's episode of the Scouting Expedition podcast, courtesy of the Cascade Pacific Council of Scouting America. My name is Chris Bartell, and I am the Director of Marketing and Innovation here at the Cascade Pacific Council. And as we always like to start out here, we are going to start off with our news portion of our podcast episode, and then we'll dive in with an interview with one of our Eagle Scout Scholarship winners, Logan McClure, and his dad, actually. So it's a great interview, very inspiring, and I know you'll enjoy it. But first, of course, let's dive into the news, shall we? And as you've seen before, if you've watched any of our episodes or listened to any of them, we always start off things with a safety moment. We're actually trying to encourage all scouts and scout units on all of their adventures and excursions to start off with, and even meetings too, to start off with a safety moment. And today, because the clock is ticking here for summer camp. And so we just want to remind everybody for your safety moment today to make sure you get that health checkup done, and then you're prepared for summer. So if you're going on any outings less than 72 hours, of course, you just need to fill out parts A and B of the health medical form. And if you need to go for more than 72 hours on any of your adventures, you need to do the full meal deal, all the parts of the med forms there at parts A, B, and C. So don't forget to do that. You can download the latest version at scouting.org. Just do a little Google search there and you'll find it easily. Okay, let's dive into the latest and greatest news from here at the Cascade Pacific Council of Scouting America. First of all, we want to mention the new fall campaign that's going to be starting up in September, because September is National Preparedness Month, and I'm super, super excited about this. We have a whole variety of activities that'll be going on. We're actually creating a program with a bunch of our volunteers. We're creating a program for September, so all of you scout units out there actually don't need to really do much other than just plug and play these programs that we're building out. There will be 3 weeks of plug and play programs for open house nights, to invite all of your friends and your scouts' friends to your meetings and have some fun and learn how to be prepared. Also, there is a unit fundraiser portion. That's right, we have a new unit fundraiser to help your scouts and your scout unit raise money. We're going to be allowing you actually to sell first aid kits. So we have 2 versions of that. You can see all of the details, of course, in the link in your email newsletter that you received. And all of the details are there, including now pictures of what is in the first aid kits. What's cool about these is they are custom branded with actually our brand new logo of Scouting America, Cascade Pacific Council. So you'll see those there on the webpage. And we actually want some help here on this, is that what we'd love to have is for you to estimate how many your scout or your scout unit might sell, because we just want to make sure we're going to have enough inventory in September for those. We have a local vendor, a local partner who's helping us out with that. And so the deadline to let us know about your estimated number of units that you might want to order is May 31st. So that's coming up here pretty soon, and we just want your help there. So we just make sure that we have enough inventory for those. So check the link there in your email. Another news item here is May 31st is also your Camp for All unit goal deadline. And so if you make your Camp for All goal, you'll get a 5% of the amount you raised in a Scout Shop gift card for your scout unit to spend. You'll also get free weekend camping at our council camps and a ribbon for your unit flag. So don't forget to nudge everybody along and make that goal. We also want to mention that we have postponed our Council Court of Honor. We will have a new date coming soon, and new activities. Going to be really fun, so we will let you know about that soon. We originally had it planned for June 9th, but that's been postponed, so just a heads up, everybody. Another news item is that the climbing committee, the amazing climbing committee, has a plethora of climbing days that you can enjoy, even Cub Scouts too, and learn all about how to create safe climbing opportunities for your scout units, or just join the climbing committee on these indoor and outdoor climbing activities. The link, of course, is in your email there, in your email newsletter. Another thing we want to mention is Camp Cooper is having a new insect study. That's right. In the past, we've actually studied plants and birds, and now we're going to study bugs over at Camp Cooper. So all you have to do is reach out to Ranger Aaron Yoder, and he'll connect you with all of the details. Okay, let's dive into some summer camp news because, as I mentioned before, the clock is ticking. We're less than a month away from summer camp opening. We're super excited about that. So let's just dive into a couple things. One main one is that you need to make sure your adults are fully registered. That means an adult application is done, youth protection is done, and your BSA criminal background check is all done and approved if you want to go to summer camp. So make sure that all of your adults do that who are attending summer camp or high adventures, any of those activities, any overnight activities. They need to get that taken care of. And it can take a bit of time. So we just want to give everybody a heads up to do that ASAP. The only exception is for Cub Scout adults. There is an exception for that, and the details, of course, are in your email, but I'll just read this to you, is that Cub Scout parents or legal guardians who are participating in an overnight Cub Scout program with their own child or legal ward are not required to register as leaders. Otherwise, you got to do that, so take care of that soon. Speaking of summer camp, we also have work weekends happening right now, so if you'd like to help out, get at any of our properties and helping those camps get ready for summer, please join us for that. The link there is also in your email. There's a variety of opportunities to help out. We also wanted to let you know that we have some pre-camp webinars happening here soon. On May 30th, the Scouts BSA camp webinar, pre-camp webinar is happening at 6:30 p.m. And then on June 2nd, we have a Cub Scout camp webinar as well at 6:30 p.m. Again, the links there for the Zoom are in your email, and you can register there and you'll get reminders, of course. Here's a really fun thing we want to mention is that Camp Pioneer, after summer camp is over, there's sort of an extra summer camp opportunity. It is a Geek Week at Camp Pioneer, and it has this awesome, fantastic theme. It is called Throne Quest, the Cascade Chronicles Throne Quest, and it involves tabletop gaming and role-playing games and trading card games and more, including a live-action Throne Quest adventure. It's going to be really, really fun. So please join us for that. If you want to just geek out at summer camp, this is your opportunity. It is August 12th through 16th. It's a week long, just like summer camp, basically. And so you'll want to join us for that. We have some upcoming training events we want to mention here as well. We have a really amazing mental health workshop. You know, this is all about being mentally awake, as we like to say in the Scout Oath. So we have this really great opportunity here on June 1st at H.B. Lee Middle School. It is basically an all-day long mental health workshop. They're going to talk about mindset and mental health and youth mental health first aid, just some really incredible wisdom and knowledge for all of us leaders and adults to dive into and understand more about how we can help our Scouts with their mental health. Another opportunity here, which is really fun coming up this summer at Philmont Training Center, is International Scouting and Women in Scouting, 2 training sessions actually being led by CPC volunteers. The Women in Scouting event is happening with our board chair, Kayleen Deathridge, and the International Scouting training is headed up by June Takei, who is our International Scouting representative here in the Cascade Pacific Council. So check that out. It's on June 16th through 22nd at Philmont Training Center. Speaking of training for youth, National Youth Leadership Training is happening, and these spots do fill up and are filling up fast. We have 3 courses happening this summer in June, July, and August, 3 to choose from, all at Camp Baldwin. This is amazing, incredible leadership training for youth who want to learn how to lead in their lives and in their Scout units. It is a fantastic opportunity. The link there is in your email newsletter and on the website. There's some great videos. If you parents are even remotely considering or thinking about it, just watch some of the videos. They're just wonderful stories of the impact that National Youth Leadership Training, or as we call it, NYLT, can have on your Scout. Another training opportunity for youth 14 and up and adults is Wilderness First Aid. This course is happening June 22nd and 23rd in Beaver Creek, and you are going to learn how to be prepared at the great outdoors with some hands-on first aid training, specifically about being out in the wilderness. This is an incredible training opportunity as well. and it is happening June 22nd, 23rd. It is $200, but these training cards that you get are good for 2 years, and they all meet the BSA requirements. Another fantastic outdoor activity, outdoor training opportunity, actually, is the Wilderness Survival Clinic. It's happening here with Brett Stoffel, who is with Emergency Response International. And what he's going to teach here is all about the gear and techniques and so much more about how you survive in the wild. And that is happening on August 3rd through 4th. And it is happening in Beaver Creek as well. And the cost is $175, and it does include a survival kit. I've actually taken some of his classes and trainings, and it is fantastic. It will actually, it'll blow you away. Just some of the things you need to know to be prepared in the wilderness at all times. We actually have changed up things in our emergency kits and our top 10, our 10 essentials, if you will. And it's really a great course. As well as the previous course, the Wilderness First Aid courses. These are just amazing courses for you if you're into heading the great outdoors and want to learn how to survive. All right, so next up we have family camping. We really want to mention and remind folks, because Memorial Day is already happening, literally as we speak, and we want to remind you that you can do family camping at Camp Clark on the coast from now all the way through Labor Day. A wonderful, beautiful, incredible place on the beach with private coastline that, oh my gosh, it is just absolutely fantastic. Check it out on our website and you'll see just the amazing pictures if you've never been there. It is a wonderful place to take your family and go camping this summer. And lastly, we want to mention our partner events happening later on this summer. We have Scout Nights planned. That's right, we have 2 baseball nights with the Mavericks League, the Volcanoes versus the Senators at Salem Kaiser Stadium. That's happening on June 28th and August 9th. And we have our first ever, as far as I know, our first ever Portland Timbers Scout Night happening on August 24th, of course, at Providence Park. And what's going to be fun about that is we're actually going to, they're going to actually be announcing our National Preparedness Month activities. And so that's really going to be a fun partnership that we're starting up there. And that's it for the latest and greatest news here in the Cascade Pacific Council of Scouting America. Now let's dive into today's episode. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. I'm super excited to be here and share with you some scouting expeditions here. Today we have Logan McClure, who is one of our Eagle Scout Scholarship winners, and his dad here as well, and Linden, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their scouting expeditions. Super excited to have you guys here. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody, all 2 of you. And so let's start with you, Linden. Let's start with how did you get involved with Scouts? You told me you were in Scouts as a kid, so tell me a bit more about that.
Sure. I grew up in a very small town in Maine, and being outdoors was just part of our life. I love the outdoors. I love to experiment with all the learnings that come with that, but our scouting program wasn't very continuous. We would have a scoutmaster come in for a little while and then they'd leave, and so we never had a chance to have a really contiguous experience, but I had a chance to participate in a lot of the basic things and work my way up towards first class. But at that point, our program kind of ended because our scoutmaster went off to New Zealand.
New Zealand. Well, that's a little ways away. It's kind of hard to bring the troop along with you to New Zealand, right?
Exactly.
And so then, Logan, how did you get involved with Scouts?
Well, it was always kind of my dad planting the seed and my brothers and I when we were really young. So he had us started with some of the basic requirements. I can't really remember what it was called. But once we moved to Oregon, when I was in 3rd grade, we found out that there was a Cub Scout pack at my school, Pack 598. And so he decided to sign us up. He convinced us to try it out. And 9 years later, here I am.
And tell me a bit more about what are some of the memories you have about scouting itself. What could be adventures or relationships you've had, or whatever it is. What are the things that sort of stick out in your mind about your scouting experience?
Man, that's a really tough question because there's just so much I could talk about. I've definitely gained a lot of leadership skills from scouting. I think that's number one is confidence and communication skills and being able to kind of have that service mindset to kind of guide me through my life. And then on top of that, there's, camping, big fan of my Philmont experience, and just growing up through all the ranks and learning all the skills. Yeah.
Tell me a bit about some of the skills you've learned and some of the you mentioned leadership and things like that. So
Yes.
what specifically, I guess, do you feel like you've taken away from the program, and maybe something that's helped you with what you're doing now? And tell me a bit about what you're doing now.
All right. I guess I'll start with kind of um, the big takeaways I've gotten from leadership experiences. I've held over 9 leadership positions so far. Just kind of kept pushing myself to take more on, and I've held 3 positions as ASPL and 1 position as SPL. And so definitely a lot of time as a leader, and just interacting with the troop and figuring out how to plan meetings, and then figuring out where to go when things go wrong, just being able to recover from mistakes, thinking, months ahead, and thinking where to take the troop. All these are really practical skills. And I've been using them in my everyday life. I've been using them in leadership positions at school. I am serving as the co-president of Junior State of America, the club it's basically a debate club at my school, and also the vice president of the National Math Honor Society. So many applications of my leadership skills. Could you remind me what the second part of the question was?
And yeah, how about some of the experiences you've had, and whether it could be great adventures, or what are the things that stick out in your mind in terms of some of the memories you have of scouting?
Right. Well, the first one is probably the most recent one, is leading my Eagle project. I was able to bring together my whole school to do a service project to capture the diversity at my school. I attend the International School of Beaverton, and we have some 850 plus students from grades 6 through 12. But in that small group of people, we have over 40 languages spoken. So
Wow.
we have people from all over the world. And so I got to brainstorming with my principal and my scout leaders. Big shout out to my principal, Andrew Guilford, and also scout leaders, Keith Covington and Debbie Black. They were a big part of that. But I got to get some of my friends, and we made this interactive map. It was we installed a display case in the front hallway. We put in a world map. I got the art club to help me create murals to capture the diversity. It ended up being a mural of students giving flowers to each other as a symbol of peace. And all these students are representing different cultures, which is really cool. And then the finishing touch was we had a 1-hour kind of activity with all 850 students and teachers as well. They got to explore what it means to appreciate diversity, and then they all got a little pin, and they got to place their pin where they feel connected to in the world. And as you can imagine, with over 40 languages spoken, we now have I'd say around 900 pins all over the world map.
That is really unique. I mean, that is not like digging ditches or clearing a trail, or that's really it's really special. What motivated you to find something unique like that? Why choose that versus something that may be more typical, if you will, or something stereotypical that folks might think about in terms of an Eagle Scout project?
Right. I think of 2 things. The first thing is, it really comes down to what community you really want to serve and how best you can serve them. And I feel like I have made a home at ISB, and the school has become such an important part of my life. And I wanted to give back. And so that's kind of the first thing, is how can I best give back to the school? And that's when I stumbled on this idea of getting all the students involved, because really the people I was serving was the students. And if I can help them feel more connected in this kind of cohesive appreciation of our diversity, the better. And the second part I mentioned was I wanted to try to see if I could get this long term, like not just this generation of ISB students, but years down the line. And so the way that we designed the project was so that every year, all the incoming students will receive a pin and participate in that same activity. And the map will be an updating representation for every year's kind of community. So my hope is that it'll be an annual tradition cemented at our school for the next decades to come. Yeah.
And it really is brilliant. Now, what did you think? What did you think, Dad? Were you surprised? Were you not surprised?
Well, I think that it's very clear that Logan has an affinity for his school. He loves it. He spends a lot of time helping and being involved. And he really has a passion for being a good friend to his classmates and helpful to his teachers. So it didn't surprise me that he identified ISB as the place for his project. In terms of his vision for having a project that lives on for multiple years, I think that was a little surprising, and I think it's really nice. He spent a lot of time figuring out this tradition and how to involve each new batch by having a different color pin for each year at school. So it is very clear by looking at the board, what years are represented in the different parts of the world. I liked it.
And we are actually going to have to show that video that you made. Did you make it, or did you have a friend create that video?
I worked with a friend because I wanted to really outsource and get as many students involved. So I got one of my best friends, and we reached out to a school district videographer as well. Special thanks to Colin Elliott for that. And he brought in video equipment, and that's how we produced the video. I got both of their help.
That's awesome. And we are absolutely going to show that. We'll actually show that next, and then we'll come back to the podcast.
My name is Logan McClure. I am an 11th grader at the International School of Beaverton. So this project was part of my Eagle project and CAST project here at ISB. When I was starting to think about what project I wanted to do, I talked with Mr. Guilford, the principal, and we were thinking that the school needed a representation of the diversity of the students at our school. So over the last few months, I've been working with both students and staff to create this representation of the very many places around the world that our students and staff come from. Here on the map, we were able to give every student a pin. We had each student take their pin and place it on a place of big significance to them. That could include a place where they were born, where their parents were born, where their parents came from, all sorts of different things. And with each of their pins, students placed it around the map, and now we have pins all over the world.
My name is Annika Enriquez. I'm in 10th grade and I go to ISB. I placed my pin in Quezon City, Philippines. That's where I grew up. That's where my grandma and my whole family is from.
My name is Nadia. I'm a junior at the International School of Beaverton. I placed my pin in Kraków, Poland, and I placed it there because I'm half Polish.
My name is Abiola Adisa. I placed my pin in Lagos, Nigeria.
Oh, that's a lot.
I thought the map pinning was really cool because I always heard that ISB was a really diverse place, but to actually see it like right in front of my face was really cool.
I think it gives us perspective as to how special and different ISB is as a school.
So this project will be an annual tradition at our school. Every incoming student will be able to get a pin and participate in this tradition. Every year we'll be able to see what the diversity is of our school.
Well, it is really amazing to see your project in action and see the students engage with it like that. It's like interactive in an old school way, and that's what's really, really fun, but yet so visual to see that, and the idea of this thing lasting year over year. That's what's really, really fun. So the kids will get to see all the different where people are from all over the world and all of that. That's really great. Now, what's sort of your passion? Where are you headed in terms of your studies or whatnot?
That's a good question. I'm still currently trying to figure out how exactly I'm going to give back to my communities in the future. I'm going to be studying electrical and computer engineering. I think I have a lot of STEM skills, but particularly something that I found through Scouts is I really enjoy bringing people together to help others. I really realized that with my Eagle project, but even through all my leadership positions, I just really want to, make a positive difference in the world. And so somehow I'm going to figure out how to use my STEM skills and also my leadership skills to innovate some solutions to some of the world's problems.
It's great. So, Dad, what have you seen? How have you seen? No, he's your oldest, right? You just told me that
That's right.
before the podcast. So you have how many other?
I have three
kids?
sons, all in high school, and Logan is the first through, and then Levi and Laszlo will be coming through in 2 years and 3 years from now.
Nice, excellent. And how have you seen? Well, maybe all the kids evolve or change. How have you seen? How have you seen scouting really affect maybe Logan's life?
Sure, it's been an amazing journey. You take a look at your children as you drop them off to the first meeting of Cub Scouts, and everyone's running around and doesn't have a sense of order or what they're doing. Just try to focus on fun, and then starting to build in some basic skills. And then over the years, you just watch, and it's amazing to see them develop this sense of responsibility. And they were, Logan was in Troop 618, which was a scout-led troop. And so the scouts were responsible for organizing all the events and the meetings. And to watch them step up and figure out how to be leaders and to organize and to make things happen, what an amazing transition. So I look at Logan and his batch when they started, and then I watched them as they attained the higher ranks, and what a growth. Amazing.
Tell me a bit about some of your other memories, maybe about some adventures. You mentioned Philmont,
Yes.
and because scouting is also known for the outdoors, and we always talk about like we use the outdoors as our classroom. So just tell me a bit about that, and how has your or how have your leadership skills sort of helped out in maybe some of those endeavors as well?
Yeah, I think I'm going to focus on Philmont. I think that's kind of the pinnacle of my outdoor experiences, and a good example of how I've kind of learned more about my leadership. I had the pleasure of serving as crew leader for our 2022 trek of 12 people. And I really do want to give credit to that 12 people or the 11 other people in that crew, because we were just such a united group of people. They warned us that there was 4 stages to a Philmont trek. And one of those stages is the storming phase, when everybody's just in conflict. But I really do think that thanks to that group of people and hopefully some of the leadership skills I've been implementing, that we ended up not having a storming phase at all. It was just honeymoon all the way through. But yeah, that was a great way to not only test my physical endurance and all the physical skills I've been learning through Scouts. You know, tying knots every day. Don't forget about tying knots. That's a big part. And then, it's wake up early, get your packs ready. We're gonna go hike this route, and then delegating roles. It's just a big list of things to keep in mind, and definitely a great way it was a great way for me to kind of hone my leadership skills. And then other than that, I think don't forget to appreciate the outdoors. Philmont was beautiful. And if you're a scout and you're wanting to go to Philmont, or even considering it, I highly recommend it. It's a great opportunity. And particularly summiting Mount Baldy was one of the most satisfying experiences ever. That was a 12-mile day, but it was worth pushing through to the top and then being able to trace all the way back to the beginning. Yeah. So it's kind of a brief summary of that experience.
That's excellent. 12 miles in a day is not the easiest. It's easy in a car, but not so much when you're hiking. You think, oh, it's so short. And then, oh, no, it's all day. That's great. Good. Glad to hear it. And so a lot of folks out there have maybe not heard, maybe they've heard of scouting, but we're discovering these days that a lot of people actually don't know about scouting, or maybe their grandpa did it, or maybe dad did it, but they don't really know about it. And so what would you both say to a parent about why join scouting? What should they expect? What should a parent expect out of their kids getting involved with scouting? And we'll start with you, and then for you, Logan, why should somebody that is a 12-year-old, or the kindergartner may not be able to decide, but why should a youth join scouting? So let's start with you, Dad.
Sure. I think that the scouting program is just a wonderful organization and a set of experiences and learning. And when I thought about what I wanted my children to experience, I wanted them to gain skills. I wanted them to have outdoor experiences, to learn how to camp and survive, and all the basics that you get through the merit badges and the rank advancement. It's just a wonderful set of things that you're learning over the years, and it doesn't all come at once. You get out there and you have some maybe not so fun times because you're in the middle of a rainstorm, or you figure out how to find that inner strength and work through it. And just that development over a child's youth is amazing. And I would recommend everybody think heavily about, encouraging their children to take scouting, because I think it's just a wonderful program.
And how about you? What would you say? What have you, let's start with, what have you really gotten out of scouting? Like, you've mentioned leadership and things like that,
Yes.
but how has it maybe changed you, and why should a parent think about joining scouting, and maybe, why should a kid say, yeah, sure, that sounds awesome, versus I don't want to do that. I want to sit home and play video games my whole life. So,
Yeah, I think on the surface, it's definitely one of the big appeals of scouting is just the pure fun. It's just, you're going to go on so many adventures, you're going to have so many experiences, and it's just a natural part of scouting as you're trying to try to complete all those rank advancement requirements. So many different things you need to do, but it's super fun to do it along the way. But at a deeper level, I think, I mentioned this previously, but one of the biggest takeaways I've had from scouting is discovering kind of my life mission to me is to serve others. It's just resonated with me so much through the spirit of service with scouting. And I think it has been just a wonderful realization that I love helping people and bringing them together to serve others. And if there's one other thing I want to mention, it's the other end of that. I've been blessed with such a great scouting community with Troop 618 and even Pack 598. And as I've been leading projects, and especially with my Eagle project, when all the students and staff were so receptive to that service effort, I've just kind of gained an appreciation of the genuine kindness that a lot of people have. And I think it's something that people often take for granted. I think if you can look past kind of, that harder face that people put up sometimes, if you try to bring them together to do something for the common good, you'll often find some, generally open and receptive people that are willing to help you accomplish that. So, I've loved service, but also I've learned that, there's a lot of kindness in the world, and I really appreciate that.
well, on that positive note, I think that's about as a great ending as you can get. That's such a very sweet sentiment, and it's so great that you have experienced that. And that's a unique thing that's different from other people's experience. Everybody's experience is different, but that is a special piece that you're sharing with everybody and have experienced. And I think it's lovely and wonderful. And we hear so many different stories, and people have experienced so many different things. And the service is, it really is the inherent in what we do, even though we don't tell the kids that all the time, that they're going to do this, they're going to do a bunch of service projects. So we don't tell them that right off the bat. But the funny thing is that after a while, it just becomes a part of how you do this thing called scouting and who you become. So it's really great to hear that. It's like, yay, you do believe. Anyways, that's awesome. That's great. Well, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate you guys being here today. And we can't wait to see what happens next with you. You're going to go off either to what schools again? What were you saying before?
Currently considering Oregon State University and University of Washington. I think I'm leaning towards Oregon State University, though.
All right. Well, go Beavs. Go on the Coug, but that's okay. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Congratulations again. That's really, really fantastic on your Eagle project and your Eagle Scout Award and the scholarship, of course, and to your next adventures. And congratulations to Dad as well, and to your whole family, of course. And can't wait to see what happens with the rest of the siblings too. So thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks everybody for being here, and we will see you next time. Say bye.
Bye.